Good freaking morning, my friends. Hope you all are having a great day. So now that we got the first start knocked out on the Evo 8, the next, of course, big goal is the first drive, huh, Coda? You want to come on the first drive with me? I should bring Coda to the shop one of these days. He can roam around and check out all the builds. You'd probably scratch them and take dunks on all of them. But what we need to get done for the first drive is we got to fix the oil leak coming from that turbo return line. That shouldn't be a big deal. I do need to pull the downpipe for that. I need a proper fuel pressure regulator. My fuel pressure is like sky high right now, and I don't dare adjust it on the temporary regulator that's on the car, because when it goes back on the Evo 10, which is what I had to remove it from for a first start, then that pressure is going to be all over the place. It's going to mess with the tune. Fuel pressure is very, very important with AFRs and with your tunes. So I don't want to mess with that. The new regulator should be in hopefully within the next few days. And then we need a steering wheel as well. I sent mine out to get customized, and that should be hopefully done soon, hopefully before we leave, so I can meet the deadline, my fake internal deadline I set for the car. Hopefully that comes back before then, but if we want a first drive, I have other options for a steering wheel. So that is the next goal. First drive on the Evo 8, coming probably not today, maybe tomorrow. I guess we'll see. It also can't be raining, and it's winter/springtime right now, and it's non-stop raining all the freaking time. So we are 13 days away from leaving town, from skipping town. And Bobby has assigned me to not be so white. So apparently I have to start tanning. Now I always thought that going into a tanning bed wasn't all that good for you. I could be wrong. Bobby's smarter than me, so if Bobby assigns something to me, it's probably for the better, let's be frank. And guess what? While I'm in the area, being that it's up north, I'm gonna get my blood work done again, and maybe miraculously my platelets are sky high and not at 2. I need to make a run to pull and save, a wrecking yard here and grab a couple parts for the car. I did a bit of research. It appears that a factory, or just a traditional Lancer, like an ES model Lancer hood hinge, should be the same as Evo. I believe 02 and 03 Lancer should be the same. 13 days, man. 13 freaking days. Am I white? I'm not even that white. Well, do I look more tan yet? Let's go ahead and fix the primary issue on the car. You see this oil leak right here? It stems up, comes from the turbo return line, bottom AN fitting, where it screws onto the oil pan. Thankfully, it's gonna be a very easy fix. But we do need to pull the downpipe. We're probably gonna have to pull the starter, and I think that should be it. So yeah, not really a big deal. Let's get her done. 2 12 mils right here for the hangers. .22mm for the wideband sensor. 2 14 mils holding down pipe to test pipe. Thankfully I got a super thick reusable 30-inch Grimspeed gasket up in there, so won't have to replace that. 2 bolts holding down pipe to the O2 housing, and this thing is off. Nice. I'm just gonna go ahead and remake the whole entire line with new hose, new vibrant fittings. The flanger's fine. I'm just gonna redo everything. Alrighty, let's just hope it was a bad fitting and not an actual bad and boogered up bung on the oil pan. This thing is gonna be abnormally loud for a sec. Before the downpipe goes on, and we button everything up, I'm gonna go ahead and fire the car up get the oil warm, get things circulating, and just make sure that oil leak is resolved. Yeah, let's hope it is. It's actually probably gonna sound pretty sweet, if I'm being completely frank. Loud cars really sound cool. I need to make more loud cars. Look at that dual ball bearing EGT. Just winding down for minutes. Yeah, that sounds loud, but it sounds cool. I like it. I got it warm enough. I'm gonna let it sit for a minute, make sure it doesn't leak, which it's not leaking at all right now. And by the way, the coolant leak that we had yesterday is completely resolved. It fixed itself, which is obviously very, very nice. Yeah, loud cars make me smile. I'm pretty sure on the Type R, the all-wheel drive Type R that we built like a couple months ago, I'm gonna create another exhaust system for it, just a hood dump, because it just sounds so cool. And that car is so freaking quiet as is. I am headed to my favorite place in the world, the wrecking yard. There's a couple parts for the 8 that we need. Mainly the hood hinges. We need the driver's side mirror glass itself, and I'm pretty sure both of those Lancer, traditional Lancer, is gonna be the same. They have 2 Lancers, an 02 and an 03, or maybe both 03s. But either way, they should have all the parts that we need. And instead of buying new OEM hinges, which are 80 bucks, I should be able to get some from the wrecking yard for like $10 maybe. The glass you cannot buy separately. My parts car doesn't have the glass or the mirror. So let's hope today the good old pull and save treats us well. The best place in the world. I don't know why I enjoy it out here so much. It's just a good time. All right, these guys just got a new Lancer in. So these should be the proper hood hinges because it is 02. And then check this out, boys. Check this out. This carpet thing right here, that looks identical to an Evo. Actually, you know what? Why is it cut out right there? That ain't right. Mirror is missing, but let's snag those hood hinges real quick. I sure hope these are the same. Lancer number 2, that glass is shattered, unfortunately, but if you come around to the rear, this piece is not cut. I don't know what's different about it. I feel like the Evo has a little cutout in here, but honestly, I'll probably pay about $5 for this piece. So let's take her back to the shop and see if we can make it work. So I ended up buying both sides of these inner trunk liner things, and we can deal with that later. For now, if these are the proper hood hinges, which I am believing that they are, I need to get these things painted ASAP because of course paint takes a little bit to dry. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull one off the car. I already know what they're supposed to be like because I compared a yellow one versus a Evo 9 blue one, and like I said, those ones on the yellow car are pretty bent up. You guys see how much more these close versus these? This is what we need. They are identical. And if you're wondering, here, let me grab my receipt. Today's bill was a little bit more than I expected based off of when I bought the sunroof. It was ridiculously cheap. So my hood hinges were, I don't know, it doesn't itemize it, but $49 for both hood hinges and both trunk carpets. These guys, if I'm not mistaken, they should be zinc plated from the factory. So I think how the factory does it is zinc plate and then paint over the zinc plate. That's what we're gonna do as well. So instead of sandblasting these, I'm gonna throw them in the powder coat stripper tank. It should pull off the paint, but not the zinc. I wanna maintain the zinc because it's, of course, an anti-corrosive. and then we can go ahead and get them painted to match the engine bay. Now being paint, they'll probably strip within a minute, I would say. Powder coat, of course, takes quite a bit longer. Out of the stripper tank, all cleaned up. These things are indeed zinc plated, so we don't have to worry about doing any sort of like acid etch or epoxy primer, being that they are zinced. If it was bare metal, I would definitely be putting down some epoxy first. But here we got our paint. This is a single stage. This goes 3 parts of this to 1 part of activator, thankfully, because we ain't got much. And then 10% reducer. We don't need much though, just 2 hinges. We should be good to go. Look at that beautiful color. That should be plenty for 2 hinges. Just enough freaking hardener, look at that. Gotta love it. Now I did debate just using the primer gun, but let's do it right. This ain't the nicest gun in the world, but it's a whole lot nicer than the Harbor Freight Special. This guy actually sprays pretty good. Look at that paint job, man. So nice. The less you care, the better they turn out, I swear. Okay, well, I want to get these things on soon. So I'm going to utilize our sweet little oven here. Do a makeshift bake cycle. 150 degrees for about 45 minutes. 30, 45 minutes. And these things should be plenty hard. Let's just hope no dirt falls on them while they're in the oven. Look at that beautiful hinge. All finished up, fully dried. It's hard. Hopefully, well, I know this is gonna fix our problem. How would it not? Look at that paint match. Sheesh. Okie dokie, boys. Hinges are on. They're not quite tight because we need to do some alignment. But wow, look at that. The hood actually closes like it should. It's miraculous. Hood is on, complete. Well, not complete. It's missing everything. But it's on and it's fully aligned and it looks perfect. Let's move on to those rear interior trunk panels. So this is the one I currently have for the Evo. It's nothing short of absolutely haggard, and it is indeed a little bit different. As you can see here, we have a big giant hole. You know, let's do an actual compare and contrast. So if that was sitting like that, that all looks pretty similar. This right here is a little bit different. And of course, it's missing the hole. Let's try to put it up in the car and see what it's gonna look like. And I'm not so sure what goes in that corner. Is it the jack? I'm assuming the jack is supposed to go down there. Maybe not. Maybe nothing goes down there. On the Blue 9, there's nothing in there. And I could always take the carpet out of the Blue 9, but I'm trying not to completely just gut this car and take all the pieces from it. This one is perfect shape though, if it came down to it. It's not gonna fit, not even, I mean, it's close. Don't get me wrong, but it hits all up in here. Dang, no go. This whole panel right up in here is different for the rear strut tower. Completely different. I had high hopes. If anyone has this carpet, it's like the last thing I need for the interior of this car that I cannot find. So if anyone has that piece, of course it's got to be mint. I'll buy it. I'm going to finish off the night and finish off the video with going through the bay. So I think I'm going to pop the strut tower bar off. I'm going to go through and redo all of the wiring. Not redo it per se, but take off the connectors we don't need. There's stuff like this that needs to be routed differently. This ground wire's just janky and bummy. And just really get this bay cleaned up like it deserves. Our fuel pressure regulator isn't going to be in for a couple days still. And that's going to be a direct mount regulator. It's going to go right on the rail, so it's going to be super nice and clean. I don't have to worry about drilling onto the firewall at all. And yeah, I just want to get this bay cleaned up and ready to go. Really no other problems to fix. So from here, it's pretty much just finishing up loose ends. I guess I'll do a quick before. Like I said, this thing's kind of just slopped together. So here it is before. After getting a few wiring connectors cut off, this is pretty much what the bay is going to look like. The intake manifold has yet to go back on. I'd need to extend that ground wire that goes there. Well, I guess the ground wire can pretty much go anywhere. But cam sensor, I need to extend that harness. And the bay is going to be looking mighty fine like it currently does. Having clean wiring is everything, man. You can spend all the time you want, all the time in the world on paint and powder coat and your turbo kit and all that stuff, but if your wiring is bunk, your build is bunk. Wiring is everything. I gotta take off, going to the gym. Bobby and I have been training a lot together recently, which has actually been a lot of fun. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but for the longest time, we went to different gyms. I can see how that sounds kind of funny from the outside, but I prefer like a more raw type of gym. And she is more of like a nice, clean, upkept, not dungy, not stinky type of gym person. So I ended up getting a membership at her gym. So a couple nights a week we train together. We used to train together all the time back in the day, but then yeah, she couldn't hang at the nasty dungy gym that I go to. So that's been sick. Both trying to get jacked and shredded for this Hawaii trip coming up. So that's where I'm going. Going to the gym to get jacked and shredded. With that being said, thank you for watching, and I'll see you, my friends, tomorrow. Good night.